Thanks, Don and choir. Outstanding. Even without a tenor.
We don't let just anybody.
So the topic of this morning is the meaning of Christmas. And let's be clear, I'm not telling anybody what meaning to attach to anything. My spiritual path is the Course in Miracles. And one of the central teachings of the Course is that all events are neutral. The only meaning that any event ever has is the meaning which you attach to it. Having said that, let me suggest some ways to look at the meaning of Christmas, just as a suggestion, not as a requirement, not as a demand, just simply as an offering. So you might wonder, if you walk into a place called the Interfaith Center for Spiritual Growth, why is a Christmas tree up? Why are we celebrating Christmas? What's going on here? And it's complicated. Many of us have come from a Christian background. And for one reason or another, we've stepped aside from that because it seemed constricting or whatever experiences we had with it. And one of the differentiating notions about us is that we don't consider ourselves Christians, most of us. Some do, but most of us don't, and we don't call ourselves a Christian organization, principally because of the notion that is central to Christianity, is that there was this vicarious atonement, that Jesus somehow came here to save us all from our sins, and that if he didn't die, the rest of us were going to. And that, that has always troubled me. At the age of 16, I couldn't get a decent answer to that question, so I became a card-carrying atheist. And at the age of 45, I had a mystical experience which said, whoops, maybe I threw the baby out with the bathwater. Maybe I need to re-examine some settled issues that I thought were done and over with. And what that suggests is that there really is a purpose for the incarnation that Joshua took at that moment. He came as an avatar. He came to demonstrate, literally demonstrate, that death is not real. That death is simply a phase change. It's no different than an ice cube turning into water as it warms up. It's a phase change. It's still the same. It's still the essence of it is water. And if you warm it up a little more, it'll boil and turn into water vapor, but it's still water. And that's the message that Joshua came to bring to the world, is that death is not real, and that if you choose to believe as I believe, if you choose to practice what I suggest as a way of living, you will do everything that I've done. And even greater things than these will you do. Now that is an incredible statement. But the reason that this has gotten lost is that Christianity has become the religion about Jesus instead of the religion of Jesus. The very critical difference, because most of the Christian world makes a big deal out of the birth of the one Son of God. And Joshua himself has made it clear abundantly in a number of things that got into the scriptures, as well as A Course in Miracles, that we're all divine. We all are it. And we all have the same opportunity to become the Christ as he has become. Christ is not a name. Remember that. It's not somebody's last name. It is a status. It is the anointed one. And what Joshua says over and over again, and I suspect he might say it next Sunday morning, that we are all the anointed ones. And we can accept that anointment or not. Your choice. Your choice. You get to decide who and what you're going to become. You can decide to be the embodiment of the love that you are, or you can do one of these and say, not me. I'm not going to do that. And that's okay, because there never is judgment. Never, 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 never is there judgment. It doesn't exist. It's a made-up story. It's a fear-based control device that organized religion has imposed on the world that says something like, if you don't follow the rules, you're in trouble. And where did the rules come from? They're man-made inventions. There's just no basis to believe that Spirit, infinite, unconditional love, which is the definition of Spirit, would somehow set up the world to have rules that are so easily broken that we all get in trouble. What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. And frankly, the reason that I became a card-carrying atheist at the tender age of 16 was that I simply refused to believe that God was less compassionate than me. And that's what I had to say. If God was somehow ready to slaughter the rest of us if there wasn't a blood sacrifice of his only son, that made God into a really unpleasant entity. Really unpleasant. And what do we get from that? Well, we get the opportunity to experience ourselves as the Christ. On Monday nights, in our course group, we read from a book called The Way of Mastery. And it, like the Course, is channeled from Joshua. And in it, he suggests that each one of us spend just 5 minutes a day abiding, sitting, being the Christ. Being it. Whatever way that you think that looks, you get to choose. But that is the opportunity. We have the opportunity to become the living, breathing, walking Christ. And that is my personal take on the meaning of Christmas. It's the opportunity to give birth to the Christ consciousness that is in you, but not part of your conscious awareness. So it's a choice. It's a mental mind choice to become the living Christ. And that is the powerful, energizing, wonderful message of Christmas. Not that some poor baby was born in a manger with the ultimate destiny to die in a most unpleasant way in order to save the rest of us. The real message of Christmas is that each one of us is given the opportunity to bring into our conscious awareness the essence of our being, the notion that we are literally divine. We are the living Christ. You don't have to do that. Understand that it's not required. It's just an opportunity. It's an offer. And just like any contract, there's offer and acceptance. And if you don't like it, you don't have to accept it. But I offer you the possibility that everything about your life will change if you accept that offer. If you begin the process of tuning in to the divine and becoming literally the living Christ. So that's my take on it. We're not going to spend any time with open mic time today because we're way behind. You know, it's almost time to be done. We haven't even started the kids program. So it's choir time.